Basic Math, Chapter 6, Section 1. Divisibility tests for 2, 5, and 10. Sometimes when you divide one number by another number, the remainder is 0. When this happens, the first number is divisible by the second number. And divisible means when you divide one number by another number and the remainder is 0. 18 divided by 3 equals 6 with 0 remainder, nothing left over. 18 is divisible by 3. 18 divided by 4 equals 4 with a remainder of 2. 18 is not divisible by 4 because there's a remainder of 2. You can use divisibility tests to quickly see if numbers are divisible by 2, 5, or 10. Remember, a number is even if it ends with 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. So, divisible by 2, a number's divisible by 2 if it's an even number. Any even number is divisible by 2. 126 divided by 2 equals 63, and there's nothing left over. Therefore, it is divisible. Now, divisible by 5, a number is divisible by 5 if the last digit is 0 or 5. 6,840 divided by 5 equals 1,368 with no remainder. So 5 can go into 6,840 with no remainder, making it divisible. 6,840 is divisible by 5. Numbers divisible by 10. A number is divisible by 10 if the last digit is 0. Like 80 divided by 10. 80 has a 0, so it is divisible by 10. There's no remainder left. So let's recheck. Divisible by 2 if it's an even number. Any even number is divisible by 2. Divisible by 5 if the last digit is a 0 or a 5. And a number is divisible by 10 if the last digit is a 0. Any number that ends with 0 is divisible by 10. So we can use those guides to tell very quickly if a number is divisible by 2, 5, or 10. So let's tell if the number 5,235 is divisible by 2, 5, or 10. Step 1, write the number and look at the last digit. 5235. The last digit is a 5. Step 2, is the number even? No. So then it's not divisible by 5. It's not even because it ends with an odd number. Step 3, is the last digit a 0 or a 5? Yes. Therefore, it is divisible by 5. Step 4, is the last digit a 0? No. So then it's not divisible by 10. The number 5,235 is only divisible by 5 from 2, 5, or 10. So let's check them. And this one asks you to just write a yes or a no. Tell if each number is divisible by 2. Number 1, no. Why not? Because It is not even, it is odd. Number 2, 634. Is that number even or odd? It's even because it ends with a 4. So that is divisible by 2. So we write yes. 7,301 is odd because it ends in a 1. Therefore, it is not divisible by 2. 37,598. That ends with an 8, which is even. So yes, any even number is divisible by 2. 200,068, 180 ends with a 0. That is an even number. So yes, it is divisible by 2. All right, let's take a look at practice B. Tell if each number is divisible by 5 or by both 5 and 10. So we can write 5 or we can write 5 and 10. So we're going to look at the last digits. Number 6's last digit is a 5. So it is only divisible by 5. And then number 7 ends with a 0. So it is divisible by 5 and 10. 8 also ends with a 0. It is divisible by 5 and 10. Number 9 ends with a 5. It is only divisible by 5. And same thing with number 10. It ends with a 5. It is only divisible by 5 when we are looking between 5 and 10. 5 can go into any number that ends with a 5 or a 10. Therefore, all numbers that end with 5 or 0 are divisible by 5. 10 can go into any number that ends with a 0. So any number that ends with a 0 is divisible by 5 and 10. Practice C. Tell if each number is divisible by 2, 5, or 10. And you can write it underneath. So number 11 ends with a 6. It's even. It's divisible by 2. It doesn't end with a 5 or a 0, so it's not 5. It doesn't end with a 0, so not 10. Number 12 ends with a 0. It is even, so it's divisible by 2. It ends with a 0, so it is divisible by 5. It ends with a 0, so it is also divisible by 10. Number 13, it ends with a 5. It is not even, so it is not divisible by 2. It can be divisible by 5 because it ends with 5. It is not divisible by 10 because it does not end with a 0. 14 ends in 8. 8 is even, so it is divisible by 2. It is not divisible by 5 because it does not end with a 5 or a 0. It is not divisible by 10 because it does not end with a 0. One more. 800,000 ends with a 0. It is even. It ends with a 0, so it is both divisible by 5 and 10. So that's how we can do those. We can use this with everyday problems. Micah is a camp director. She uses the floor plans to assign campers to cabins. She does not want any empty beds in a cabin she assigns. There will be 45 campers in June. Micah wants to assign them all to the same type of cabin. Is 45 divisible by 2, 5, or 10? So which type of cabin should she use? The one with 2 beds, the ones with 5 beds, or the one with 10 beds? So is 45 even? No, it's not even, so you can't put a 2 in it. It ends with a 5, so we can divide by 5. It does not end with a 0, so we can't use a 10 to divide into 45. If we used the cabin with 5 beds, then we could use the same cabin for all campers. That's cabin B. What's bed B? Number 2. In August, there will be 70 campers. Which type of cabin should she use if all the campers were in the same type of cabin? Well, 70 campers ends with a 0. We could use either the 2 or the 10. So we could use cabin A or B. Or C, I mean cabin C. Now there are 8 camp counselors. Which cabins could they use? How many cabins of that type would they need? So 8 is an even number, so we could use the cabin that has 2 beds. 8 is not divisible by 5 because it doesn't end with 5 or 0. And it's also not divisible by 10 because it doesn't end with 0. So that would be cabin A. So please continue your practice in Chapter 6, Section 1. Thank you.